We know that the first animals evolve in the ocean, and they likely evolve over 700 million years ago during what is known as the Ediacaran period. The molecular clock data suggests that animals arose approximately 770 million years ago. However, we know that multicellular Ediacaran animals were on the scene by 560 million years ago, as we have very good fossil evidence. So this is Dickinsonia, a thin plate-like organism that was very well preserved along with a bunch of other Ediacaran life forms when storms buried them alive in sand. Footprints suggest that Dickinsonia were actively and efficiently moving along the sea bottom, feeding on the organic mat. The take-home point: the first animals were multicellular filter feeders, preying on microscopic plankton. Some of them were sessile, they were fixed to the seafloor like today's sea fans, and others drifted with the currents like the jellyfish of today. But this world was a relatively safe world. This was a time when animals were mostly soft-bodied, a time before jaws with teeth and electroreceptors and claws and body armor. So let's look at some of the lineages that evolved during the Ediacaran period. Probably the most well represented is the phylum Cnidaria, which includes the jellyfish, which you probably know are soft-bodied, gelatinous sea creatures that drift through the ocean using their pulsating umbrella-shaped bells, which you can see here. They're going to capture prey with their long, stinging tentacles, which contain specialized cells called nematocysts that are going to send little microscopic harpoons into their prey. The sea anemones, which are also in the phylum Cnidaria, notice that the C is silent in Cnidaria. The anemones, they're basically upside down jellyfish with their stinging tentacles on the top. And then these guys are attached to the surface. They're not drifting through the water like the jellyfish. Another closely related cousin to the anemones and the jellyfish, also in the phylum Cnidaria, are the sea pens. So like the anemones, the sea pens are mostly stationary, but their soft colonial bodies kind of resemble the gelatinous texture of a jellyfish. Lots of sea pens in the Ediacaran period. And this is a really cool artist rendition of a species named Kimberella. So it lived around 555 million years ago during the Ediacaran. It is believed to have a soft but bilaterally symmetrical body and is considered an early ancestor of mollusks due to the evidence of a muscular foot and the structure of its feeding apparatus. So fossilized scratch marks suggest that it too grazed on microbial mats, but again, it indicates examples of more complex animal behavior evolving. While most organisms were soft-bodied during the Ediacaran period, Cloudina, shown here, and a handful of other Ediacaran species did have hard shells. And what's crazy is some of these shells even reveal tiny little boreholes, which suggests that something bored into it trying to eat it. So we probably see the beginnings of predation in the Ediacaran period, at least predation on something larger than plankton. That said, the take-home point: The Ediacaran was a relatively safe world in which the majority of animals were primarily soft-bodied, filter-feeding organisms. It was a simpler time before jaws and teeth, a time that was dominated by things like sea pens and Kimberella here and jellyfish. And then, drum roll, dun dun dun.